Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Solo ReacTalk. This morning, I'm going to be reacting to Star Wars vs. Warhammer 40K. Let me see episode 40, Mortal Pinnacle Part 2. Yes, made on the A Fan with Too Much Time YouTube channel. If you guys want to check out my previous reactions to the other episodes, remember the playlist card for the Star Wars vs. Warhammer 40K reaction playlist is going to be at the top right here. If you want to check out the original video as well as FN with Too Much Time's YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. Yes, part 1 of Mortal Pinnacle. We got to see Bothan, the silver skull that's trying to, look for help for Nerva and foreigners. They're still trapped in the Imperial Night, and it was captured by Ahsoka, or kidnapped. She kidnapped the silver skull, probably to interrogate it. Sorry, 6 o'clock. And we also got to see Samuel and his retinue, if I can say that, his colleagues. There's about 4 of them, and yeah, they look very powerful, very dangerous. And Ahsoka was interrogated by Samuel, asking what was inside the bag that had the silver skull, Bothan, inside there. And yeah, she had to lie, she had to, evade Samuel, and she succeeded. And in the larger picture of Axum, there is a conflict happening right now in terms of the Basilica. It's being attacked by the Genestealer cult, and now it seems like the Republic along with the rebels are also going to attack the Basilica as we speak. And it seems that Ahsoka is going to head into battle with her clone troops, and I think Saint Lazurus is going to have a tough time, but he will hold, he will hold the Basilica in the hands of the Imperium of Man. I don't think he's going to lose it. We've just seen the defenses of the Basilica. It is massive. It is, very well, heavily defended, top to bottom. So I just don't see the rebels of Axum, the Genestealer cult, and the Galactic Republic succeeding in pushing and entering into this Basilica. I just don't see it. But, we might get surprises. We might get a surprise. But I just need Saint Lazurus to hold on until Admiral Roller is able to, wipe out the rest of the Victory Fleet, and then she'll be there to assist them. Yeah. And that's all I can say, for Saint Lazurus. He just has to hold on. He just has to hold on. Yeah. Okay, let's start with part 2. Mortal Pinnacle. 3, 2, 1, go.
Damage report! Rola Sendurin ordered, standing at her chair, the harsh light of the fusion cannon's discharge still fading within the artificial depths of her eyes. Still coming in, Lord Admiral, said the censor's officer, his own face lit in the green shine emitted from his many displays, blinking and wiping away sweat as the data streams depicted on them rolled past. My lord, the same officer said less than 10 seconds later. You have my numbers? She snapped, but he shook his head and looked up. They are here, my lord! They have come back! He reported, and he did not need to verify whom he spoke of, for the Admiral knew it well.
The rest of the Victory Fleet. Okay.
Show me! She demanded, and the great hololithic display before her changed its shape, revealing its cogitated projections. The Republic Armada had arrived, appearing as a sudden shower of silver shards across the half-stretched length of her scattered sector fleet. The wavering, void-born carpet of knives emerged and was already moving to envelop Rola's fleet. Slicing through space with uncanny coordination, Rola felt her mostly cybernetic face tightening as she absorbed their evident tactics and began to use them to dissect what she could not readily see. They were flying with a unity of purpose which the Lord Admiral had not yet witnessed among the fleets of this new alien galaxy.
Yeah, the Oracle team is working overtime, it seems. But will they succeed? Remains to be seen.
With the only seeming exception having been the scant moments she had spent approaching this same armada before the Republic's first departure in this battle. But even then, when the trap had been sprung, she had assumed the coordination she had witnessed was the result of practice, of weeks of repetition in preparation for this day, this attack. Now, however, observing the vast number of small vessels which the Republic fielded, watching as they moved in unbroken coordination with one another, she began to doubt her own initial assessment.
"I need those numbers now!"
she demanded. 9 escorts confirmed completely destroyed. 18 are heavily damaged and drifting. 27 have received damage from the cannon's misfire or surrounding forces but are still operable.
Yeah, but those are escorts. Give us the heavy hitters. How many did you lose?
The rest are at optimal fighting condition, the man reported.
"And my cruisers? My battleships?"
She pressed. "No battleship casualties to report, my lord. But we have lost the Emperor's nail, the chain of duty, and the death of vanity."
Are those cruisers?
The man said, almost whispering the names, but still speaking loudly enough to be heard. Rola felt her fist clench around the handle of her saber, false teeth gritting together between the rejuvenated gums of her top jaw and the false ones of her bottom.
"A Siluria, an enforcer, and a throne-damned dictator!"
she growled. "Damage reports are still coming," the man began to say, but he was silenced with a wave of Rola's free hand.
"If they can fight and fly, then it is enough. We have no time to dawdle on the lost and the useless. Hear me and obey. Have the wounded escorts rally around the wrecks of my cruisers. They are to attach anchors, activate their warp drives, and drag the bodies of our fleet out of this system with them."
Wait, are we retreating? Is this like a complete retreat or what? Oh no. Oh no. Saint Lazurus. Oh gosh.
"We cannot allow our technology to fall into the hands of the heretics and their Xenos Republic."
True, true.
"If any cruiser-class vessel should be damaged to the point of stillness or helplessness, then they are to be hauled out of this fight intact or in pieces. Use the damaged escort craft to accomplish this. Contact all carrier-capable vessels as well. Instruct them to launch all of the attack craft reserves."
I think also with the escort vessels that have been destroyed, I don't know if there's a way to further fragment the wreckages, make it into smaller itty-bitty pieces to the point where it will be very hard to reconstruct an escort vessel, because an escort vessel is still an Imperium of Man vessel. They still have void shields, they still have warp drives, they still have various types of weaponry systems that the Galactic Republic do not have. So if there's also a way to destroy, completely dismantle those vessels to the point where they cannot be reconstructed, you guys should also do that. Yeah.
"All of them! They are to target the smaller, more maneuverable freighter craft of the Republic. But they are to ignore their own small attack craft. Force them to screen us. Buy us time. Now, set 2 waypoints at these coordinates."
The Lord Admiral instructed, sitting back down and tapping away details to her commands within her armrest-mounted cogitation screen. Before them, upon the hololithic display, 2 green points of light flickered into existence. The luminous markers that were the 2 new waypoints. One was placed just above and behind the arriving armada, while the second was placed far further back and below.
Open channels!
She boomed.
All forward assault and mid-range vessels, make for the first waypoint. Countercharge their formations and break through until you are above. All support and far-ranged vessels, use our charge as cover and retreat to the second waypoint. We will force them between us. We shall be the anvil, you shall be the hammer. We fight today in the Emperor's name.
Okay, good luck, Admiral Roller. Good luck. Just write that down. Let me write it down here. The Basilica of Salvation. Wall. All right.
The arming servitor mindlessly cranked the next bucket of ammo into place, and Lazurus opened fire. The heavy bolter emplacement he was manning answering the pulling of the 2 triggers he held by spinning up and spitting micro-missile death from its high perch on the wall.
This saint is insane, okay? This saint is insane. What are you doing on the battlements and shooting a gun at the enemy with your white cloak and everything? Like, come on, Lazurus. You're making yourself into a target here, you know, and you're very important. You should not be so close to the front lines like that. You should be a bit back, I think. I don't know. I mean, if they lose you here, they're going to lose all hope. They are going to lose all form of morale boosting. You are a saint. Oh, this is cool. Kubik, well done. Well done. This is really cool.
Below, he dragged the exploding, blazing line of munitions across the mobs of aliens and dissidents, drawing trails of red in their midst, trails which vanished as more and more of them charged forward. Many were already assaulting the walls at the base of this very fortification, and it was all Lazurus and the other guardsmen stationed at the top of the wall could do to thin the incoming reinforcements before one of them managed to create a breach in their defenses.
How?
He saw another civilian speeder, this one rigged and mounted with a heavy repeating blaster cannon, firing and flying at high speed, diagonally across the battlefield and towards their perimeter. The hovering, open-topped vehicle was packed full of rebels, all of them, save the driver, armed and firing like some kind of perverse, undulating porcupine sack, its spines firing bolts of light instead of venom. He tracked it with his sights and riddled it with bolts, watching with grim satisfaction as his blazing trails of fire punched through their bodies and vehicle,
Man, okay, Lazurus.
piercing them briefly before detonating in a gloriously violent cascade. The fireball that resulted tumbled through the masses of dissidents, some running around the wreckage when it came to a stop, some fleeing from the carnage in their wake, and some running straight through the flames and climbing over the wreckage, unmindful of their own injuries. Lazurus shivered and realized he had seen this kind of thing before when putting down a gene-stealer outbreak on the far moon of his own homeworld, Columbia.
Well...
Nothing else but the madness of that blood-subverting disease could drive most sentient beings into such self-destructive bloodlust. His weapon thunked, stopped, and began reloading. As he began to wait, he felt a tap on his shoulder and found that his aide, a thin boy named Pater, had finally found another qualified gunner to take the position. Lazurus eyed the new gunner up and down, a tall, muscular woman with a bandage tied tightly around her head. "Are you fit for duty?" the now saint asked.
Sir, I am fit enough to kill heretics and Xenos, sir!
She snapped off as she held her Vastellan salute. That's good enough for me. Get to it, Vasti, Lazarus said as he crawled out of the turret controls and surrendered them to the newcomer. The woman broke her salute and grinned madly, almost falling over herself as she climbed into the huge pair of twin-linked guns. Any reports for me? Lazarus asked as he walked up to Pater, taking his waiting autogun from the boy as he came near.
Yes, Your Holiness,
the boy said,
Yes, Your Holiness.
beginning to walk alongside Lazarus as the man continued his walk down the walls, eyeing the situation from where he could as he listened. The new title made Lazarus cringe, but he said nothing about it, allowing the aide to continue.
All 12 of the southern garrisons have gathered together outside of Silver Juncture. They said they would be beginning their march here right away. Arrival should be in 20 minutes, but that was 10 minutes ago.
So there's still people coming into the Basilica. Okay.
So 10 minutes from now is the actual time,
the boy said as he kept pace. Good. I hate waiting, but with them all gathered together, they should prove far more effective on the approach. Throne knows we need the relief. With these heretics getting trapped between our walls and their guns, well, it will be a bad day for anyone who can't get out, said Lazarus, speaking loudly enough to be heard by the troops around him, though not so loud that he made it obvious they were supposed to.
Well, I don't even think they're listening really, because they're focusing on shooting the enemy, that's coming towards the Basilica. And it's loud. It's very loud, very chaotic. People are dying, people are screaming, cars are exploding. I don't think anyone really is focusing on what His Holiness is saying right here. Yeah.
It's as you say, Your Holiness,
said Pater. He cringed again, cursing himself for his lack of control. Who's in command? Lazarus asked the boy.
Excuse me, Your Holiness?
The aide asked. And he cringed once more, shaking his head in an attempt to shake it off. Of the southern forces, who is in command of them? The saint clarified.
Oh, well, I think that it was a commissar. Her name was,
the boy said as he began to pull crumpled notes from his pockets.
Commissar Jane Leros.
Man, there are a lot of commissars, on Axum. There's more than, what now? Well, within the orbit of Axum and on the planet of Axum, you have, I think so far, 3 commissars, right? No, not commissars. I'm thinking about inquisitors. Sorry. No. Sorry, guys, I'm thinking about inquisitors. I'm thinking about Inquisitor Udama, I'm thinking about Inquisitor Tarweiler, and I thought, this assistant was also talking about an inquisitor, but he said commissar. Sorry, I made a mistake there. Okay. All right. Hold on, let me just hear the name of this commissar again.
Oh, well, I think that it was a commissar. Her name was,
the boy said as he began to pull crumpled notes from his pockets.
Commissar Jane Leros.
Okay. Jane Leros. Okay.
He said once he found the note. Jane Leros. Wasn't she part of Task Force? He began to say before a sudden rumble shook the wall and nearly quaked him to his feet. What was that? Lazarus yelled.
Breaching the wall, sir! They're pouring into the inner passageways!
How is that have you guys seen how thick that wall looks? And how high it is? But okay, wow. That's amazing. The enemy truly is resourceful.
Called Acadian from nearby, a man armed with a long lass. That's not all. I'm seeing a whole mess more dissidents and Republic reinforcements encroaching upon us, yelled another marksman, a Calambian with an absurdly large and complex-seeming sniper rifle.
Emperor's teeth! Okay, everyone with anything longer range than an autogun, man the wall! Shoulder to shoulder! Focus fire on the toy soldiers and their war machines. We need to hold out for help to arrive.
Toy soldiers.
Everyone else, load up and come with me. We have to stop the invaders from clearing the wall and starting a fight up here. Get moving. Lazarus barked. Sir, was the answer the men around him gave, officers relaying the commands down the wall as the new saint snapped around and headed straight for the shadowed recess of the downward spiraling staircase. The sound of his thumping boots was joined by that of many others as more and more men filed in behind him, their advance echoing as they marched down, further and further into the dimly lit passageway that led into the internal corridors that veined the walls. He did not run, but he did rush, winding his way down, wanting badly not to get caught in a firefight in these cramped, curving stairs. He almost got what he wanted. But as Lazarus reached the bottom of the stairs and began creeping forward, reaching the empty doorway that led into the rest of the corridor, he was confronted by the bulbous alien head of a Duros rebel. Fracking fracker! Lazarus cursed, most unsaint-like, as he stumbled backwards and began firing blindly, the alien releasing a high-pitched squeal of surprise as he himself did the same thing as Lazarus, both stumbling men avoiding the inaccurate volleys of the other.
Nah, this sounds like a gene stealer. Squealing. Nah, it's a gene stealer.
However, this displayed to both the rebels behind the Duros and the Imperials behind Lazarus that the enemy had been found. Las guns and auto rifles began to bark and bleat in time with the echoing discharges of countless blasters and other exotic weapons. The narrow choke point they were now fighting over became a meat grinder for a couple of seconds, killing tens on either side before Lazarus compensated with a new order. Back up, you louts! Grenades, grenades! He yelled, demonstrating what they should do as he shoved back the men around him and drew out his own cylindrical weapon. His soldiers followed suit, pulling pins and tossing their explosives in time with their commander, filling the breach with a dense variety, from flashbangs and smoke bombs to frag grenades and even crack. The doorway was widened into a breach, and the rebels near and beyond it were shoved back or simply killed outright by the cascade of explosions.
This image is extremely infuriating. This image, seeing a human in Tau armor. You better kill that man, Imperial soldier. You better kill him with that blade of yours. You better kill him. He better not survive this.
But the rebel army had their own counter. Twin beams of light, blue and green, appearing in the hazy, silent smoke which separated the opposing forces. Lazarus's eyes going wide at the sight. Jedi! Adamant weapons! Everyone with adamant weapons, get down here! Lazarus began to yell before the smoke was split by the speeding form of their new opponent. And it was much worse than he had feared. Lazarus had never actually seen or fought a Jedi directly before, though he had been briefed on them. But he had fought gene stealers, and he knew well their aesthetic. And the creature holding the two lightsabers and bearing a third clawed hand was nothing short of a Primus. The saint could not even warn those who could not see it coming, not before it was in among them, reaping their lives like wheat grains. It moved as quickly as a space marine.
And imagine, it's moving as fast as a space marine, and it has lightsabers. You guys have no chance. No chance here. You need backup.
Sweeping the lethal bars of light through the bodies and faces of the guardsmen it met with a graceful ease that was equal parts horrifying and entrancing. But Lazarus had seen it all before. He fired his weapon from his hip, getting only a second and a half's worth of use from his gun before the vile thing was confronting him, snipping it in half with a blue-colored blade of light. That would have been the end of Lazarus' life for the second time.
I think it would have been the end of his arm, or like a part of his hand. He's lucky. He's very lucky.
Had the men behind him not already been acting even before it came for him? Several hands grasped Lazarus, even as he was firing, and yanked him back, the bisecting strike meant to turn him into halves, striking only his retreating weapon instead. He was thrown back up the stairs and to the ground, their blood spilling shortly after as other men helped their saint to his feet and continued to shove and pull him back.
Yeah, Saint, you can't be on the front lines. We need you alive. You know, we need you to continue your command and your morale boosting of the forces. We cannot afford you being killed by a Primus here, you know.
The Imperials would then turn to face the alien threat, roaring as they briefly went into the battle and died. Saint Lazurus scrambled back as much and as far as he could, fumbling on his belt for a weapon, the slaughter following him up the stairs for several meters before it finally caught up to him.
Don't you have like a grenade? Just throw a grenade at him somehow, like a frag grenade or whatever type of grenade. Just throw it at him. Do something. Please don't die here.
But by then he had found his last grenade. The stretched, grinning face of the Primus sank as Lazarus pulled the pin from his weapon, holding it up but keeping the lug gripped tight. The beast sprang backwards, leering in response to the blatantly suicidal expression the Imperial before him had branded across his all-too-human face.
Okay, now we need more Imperium of Man forces to come back you up. The Gene Stealer is not prepared to attack you directly. Means you have time. You have time. Hopefully more people are going to come and assist you. Hopefully. Because, yeah, you alone with this Gene Stealer Primus is not going to end well. Especially with the lightsabers. It's not going to end well.
Are you a gambling man, Xenos? Lazarus spat through the thick spattering of blood that now coated him from boots to skull. The creature tilted its head in the darkness, seeming so alien that St. Lazarus had trouble believing any part of it was truly human, before its lips pulled back in a dagger-toothed smile. Lazarus returned it with a grin of his own, fist loosening.
You are bluffing.
It said,
if he was bluffing, why are you pulling back? You should have hit him directly the moment you saw him. You should have started attacking him with your lightsabers, but you didn't. So he's not bluffing in your perspective.
Taking a step up the stairs. I am Saint Lazarus, and I do not bluff. He growled, secretly hoping that he was bluffing, yet knowing all the while that he was not. But the Xenos seemed intent on testing that, body leaning back, coiling as the humming blades of its weapons lowered, one aimed for his eye, the other his groin. Yet, just as it seemed the thing would charge, Lazarus' hand loosening, almost dropping the grenade, an odd expression rippled through its face, as if it had just noticed or remembered something vital. It hissed then, scowling hatefully at Lazarus, retreating back and away from him, and the growing formation of guardsmen who were forming up around the bend in the stairs.
Keep following that Primus until you kill it. Don't just stop right here. Lazarus, you go back. You go back. We need you somewhere else. But all those Imperial Guard Regiment soldiers who were there, continue to follow the Primus until you kill it.
Lazarus watched on tensely as the glow of its sabers retreated further and further away, until the former sergeant heard the creature turn on its heel and begin dashing in the opposite direction. He sighed and tossed the grenade down the stairs, letting it detonate uselessly at the dead bottom while the other Imperial soldiers came forward and hauled him up. They cheered and jostled him before continuing on, surrounding Lazarus on either side, some pausing to stand guard, while another, a medic, began to fuss over him and check him for wounds. "Think we scared them off?" asked one of the soldiers who stood guard near him as the others advanced around them. "Not a chance," Lazarus said with a shake of his head. "That thing was going to try to carve its way entirely up the wall, I could tell, and it might have done it too.
We normally call in Astartes or Basilisk strikes for things like that, the saint said before taking a proffered canteen and drinking from it deeply. He gagged and spat, pulling it away and staring at the container with a confused expression.
What, you don't like water?
What? Is this kvass? Lazarus asked,
Oh, some sort of alcohol.
almost incredulous. The soldier who had offered it shrugged sheepishly and said, Ber kvass. There was a pause then, before Lazarus shrugged his shoulders, tipping it back and taking a deeper drink than before. That'll do it, said the medic, and Lazarus nodded, swallowing down the drink in his mouth and sighing heavily, pushing the canteen into the chest of the guard to whom it belonged as he did. You're throne jammed right at will. Alright, let's get out of this carking staircase, he said, and they began to move downward, following the other guardsmen. Sir, your holiness, said the previous guardsman, the one with the questions. Sir's fine, what is it? Asked Lazarus. If we didn't scare the damned thing off, then why did it let us go? The man asked.
The question is, why did you let it go? Why did you let it go? You should have went after it. Anyways.
Lazarus could only shrug. Guess it remembered it had better places to be. Now, focus up, soldier, because wherever that place is, we're probably going to show up there shortly.
Okay, alright guys, that's it with Star Wars vs. Warhammer 40K, Episode 40, Mortal Pinnacle Part 2, made on the FN Too Much Time YouTube channel. Yes, we got to go back into space, in terms of Admiral Roller, Lord Admiral Roller, and her forces against the Victory Fleet of the Galactic Republic. And yeah, she's lost a lot of escort vessels. However, she also hasn't really lost a lot of cruisers or battleships, so that's a good thing. That is a good thing, that she hasn't lost her main ship of the lines, in this battle and in this trap that the Oracle team has sprung. But now she's also going to counter this trap that the Victory Fleet has commenced, and hopefully, the hammer and the anvil will be able to quash the Galactic Republic fleets. We'll have to just wait and see. And also her initiative in terms of recovering the wreckages of vessels that have lost power or are not able to fight, or they've been destroyed, or venting atmosphere. That's very good. She wants to prevent any form of technology that the Imperium of Man have in their possession from being controlled and utilized by the Galactic Republic, and that's a very good thing, because definitely if the Galactic Republic knows more about how their ships operate, know more about the vessels' weaponry systems, they are going to replicate something quite similar, and they can do it pretty fast. The industrial military complex of the Galactic Republic has been operating at optimum efficiency since the beginning of the war against the separatists, and I'm sure they will be very capable to produce something that is an anti-Imperium of Man capital vessel that is able to destroy their vessels. So they have to make sure that the technology aboard those vessels are not in the hands of the Galactic Republic. However, in terms of the escorts, I think she should do something, similar. Either take those wreckages away or destroy them utterly, to the point where they cannot be, reconstructed and retrofitted into Galactic Republic vessels or anything of the sort. In terms of research, she has to make sure that there is no evidence or any form of information that their enemies can obtain from the wreckages. So yeah, Admiral Roller is fixing what she can and attacking while she can as well. And then on the planet's surface of Axum, We've got His Holiness, His Holiness Saint Lazurus, you know, fighting against the Rebels of Axum, the Gene Stealer cult, and of course the Galactic Republic clone troops. And now we've had a breach in the defenses, a breach in the wall. I don't even know how is that possible, but it happened. It happened. And now there is a Primus lurking around, you know, in the Basilica, you know, and yeah, it's dangerous. It has lightsabers. It moves as fast as Astartes, and it doesn't have the Force, but still, it's a very dangerous creature. I don't know if it can deflect, you know, laser fire from a las gun. I'm not entirely sure. I know the Jedi can do that, but I don't know if this Gene Stealer can do the same thing. I'm not entirely sure about that part, but it's extremely dangerous, and hopefully the forces that are defending the Basilica can chase after it and kill it before it really does cause a lot of problems later down the line. And yeah, the Basilica still stands, but for how long? Because it seems like the Imperium of Man is really being pushed back, you know, either on the surface or in space. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens next in the next episode. I don't know if it's episode 41 or is it Mortal Pinnacle Part 3. Yeah, I think it's Mortal Pinnacle Part 3. Right? Yes. And that will be coming next week, hopefully. Guys, that's it. Remember, if you want to check out the original video as well as a Fan with Too Much Time's YouTube channel, the links are going to be in the description below. If you like my reaction, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos, and I'll see you guys hopefully next week. Okay? Bye-bye. Oh, good morning.